If you don't hate this movie, does that make you a sociopath?
Do I scare you?
Jesus and Maria are a couple going through a difficult time in their relationship. Nevertheless, they have just become parents. To shape their new life, they decide to buy a new coffee table, a decision that will change their existence. The coffee table is directed by Calle Casas and stars David Parilla and Estefania de los Santos. Obviously, massive apologies if I got those names wrong. Well, we're back. This isn't supposed to be the next film on the list, but today we're discussing The Coffee Table, and welcome to Who Would Like That. I guess I should jump in front of everything and say that I quite enjoy black humor. There are quite a few dark humor or black humor movies that kind of get lost in the muck due to their subject matter that I quite enjoy. One of my favorite dark comedies is The Weatherman, starring Nicolas Cage, or something else that we'll be discussing on this show sometime soon. But The Coffee Table is different. They're both rather dark comedies. This film is probably closer to something like Happiness meets a Serbian film, and even that, it's definitely an overstatement. But hey, hyperbole, baby. Be sure to like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thumbs up on the video. Have I said all the words yet? The Coffee Table is dark and dry with its humor, but there are moments in the film where you'll laugh quietly to yourself, and the thought process you'll go through having those thoughts is, I should probably book a therapy session because I hate me right now. As far as like infamy is concerned, it's closer to something like a Serbian film, but thrill seekers who are watching this movie on a dare might be without whelm. The film lacks a bunch of Faces of Death-esque moments, if you will. The reason this movie's got its infamy is the journey your emotions go on for the 2/3 of this movie once the big event happens. And the more the runtime adds up, the more you second guess everything about what you're seeing, everything that you're taking in, just wondering, how much worse can this get? And the film just needles you constantly throughout that process with superb tension. This is also a great testament to the shot choices and the editing that help build this tension. I think the fascinating thing is, because this is a movie from Spain, it doesn't rely on leitmotif the way American films do. You just feel what you're supposed to feel without having some song play to induce you one way or another. And it's a testament to how strong the cinematography is and how brilliant the editing is, just letting you soak what's happening in. The close-ups during at least 5 or 6 scenes in this movie really have you wondering what the inner turmoil is for every character. The comedy element of this movie, it just releases some of the steam every now and again, and ironically so, which is noteworthy, commendable, I don't know. People who are going to this expecting some sort of thrill-seeking dare movie, you're gonna be bored. That really isn't doing much service to the movie because it shouldn't be watched for one little moment in it. Although this will be forever second guessed and the new human centipede, if you will. If enough people start seeing it, it will start having that party question. But if you don't need to be told how to feel, this movie stimulates a crowd much more while trying to grasp the ideas that the movie is trying to get you to feel, thinking for yourself. Jesus wants to have one small victory in his relationship, and as the movie opens, we learn that it is one piece of furniture. A lot of people that have had relationships can absolutely understand everything about what's happening in this opening scene, And it's funny, from the jump, the Jesus character, he doesn't let very many emotions loose, and that helps build the turmoil that you feel. As you feel that turmoil, as the movie goes on, beneath that solid exterior is some turmoil, because we discover with Jesus that he's hiding a secret and desperately doing so throughout the rest of the film's runtime. Maria appears to be the boss of the family. She's got some rough edges. But the film lets you know that she's had some issues getting pregnant, and we all get hardened in different ways. But even through her hard exterior, she starts sensing something off with Jesus, and it just keeps building and building until the film finally releases with its climax. The tension reaches a boiling point during a particularly tense dinner scene where Jesus's brother and his girlfriend show up for lunch. The silence from Jesus is palpable, and you could just feel the weight of the tension, just everything getting more and more tense. Every sentence feels like it's just going to pop the release valve. This scene in particular is a masterclass in subtle acting, with all four actors conveying so much through their expressions and body language, not to mention the cinematography and the editing. What's compelling about The Coffee Table is not that it's just about the revelation of perceived secrets, but also about the aftermath. I don't know about you, but I found myself jumping to possible different conclusions for the movie in the third act, and I just hated myself for thinking that. The film explores how the group navigates Jesus's tension and how his decision-making is frustrating. It's a realistic portrayal of how honesty and communication are vital in any relationship. The movie laces some ironic black humor throughout the film, telegraphing some razor-sharp writing and the inner turmoil that Jesus feels. A constant prodding, if you will. The Coffee Table is a reminder of the importance of transparency and support in a marriage. Moreover, it is a brilliant spotlight on how something as silly as a coffee table can affect so many flaws and cracks within a relationship that may not be its strongest, and that too is the humor of it all. Don't get me wrong, it is black humor, but it's there. The inciting incident of the climax is absurd in itself, but again, it further highlights how the smallest of cracks, however insignificant, can topple a flimsy construction. The Coffee Table has a current average score of 3.4 on Letterboxd, and frankly, I quite agree with that score. The film morally is fucked, and if you start second-guessing what you're thinking, or jumping to any sort of conclusion of what you would do, congratulations, the movie's done its job. So to the series question, who would like that? It's less a horror film that's challenging you to look at something and more an internal struggle. And I've seen that people have called it boring on Letterboxd. And yeah, if you're expecting a Serbian film, that's not here. Granted, I think if this movie were to be made in America or by American producers, they wouldn't show certain elements of gore. Like, you could probably tell this story without using corn syrup. It's possible to do this movie and scale some elements back while still getting the point across. Another foreign language film that I think is in line with this is Wild Tales. Not the same country, but very similar in tone. I keep saying thrill seekers, but this movie isn't really for people who are looking to be challenged to not throw up during a gross scene. It's more about having an internal struggle. And again, at certain points, you're thinking things, and then if you catch yourself, you're like, wait, am I a sociopath? There are taboos in fiction, and this certainly explores that, but it is fiction, and I believe the absurdity of the situation and how it all pops off is part of the extremely black humor. I would suggest this movie to somebody that understands what this series is about, but also understands that this isn't so much about the imagery as it is the emotion. And it's a foreign language film. It's Spanish. So if you're on board for all of that, check it out. Let me know what you thought of it. But if you're going for some sort of human centipede, faces of death, Serbian film, like some of these gore test movies, it's not really that. As far as emotions are concerned, it'll test that's for sure. The closest thing to a similar one-for-one movie I would compare it to is Wild Tales, or perhaps Happiness, which we're covering later. So you've been warned, it's absolutely not for everyone. But if you're looking to be challenged by a fiction, this certainly may be up to the task. I'd like to thank my patrons for their support. Information down below if you have interest. And again, if you enjoyed the video, clicking thumbs up, that would help. If you want to see more of this content, subscribe. And again, if you have comments on the movie itself, I'm really curious to hear what people are going in expecting and how they feel when everything's done. I've been Charles, otherwise known as Sipo. Have a day.